The Deathworld Council was the most feared group in the entire galaxy. It was made up of leaders from the deadliest planets, places where only the strongest could live. Each planet was known as a death world, a place where life was harsh, wild, and dangerous. The council's members were proud warriors and rulers who respected strength above everything else. No one had ever heard of humans being strong enough to join the council. To them, humans were weak and reckless. They lived on a gentle planet called Earth, where danger was small and life was easy compared to death worlds. The council believed humans were nothing but weaklings who would quickly die in their harsh worlds. One day, the ship Vanguard flew through the dark space near a known death world called Karvok. The captain, Sarah Jensen, was curious. Humanity had explored many stars but never entered Deathworld territory. Sarah wanted to see these dangerous places with her own eyes. But something went wrong. The Vanguard's navigation system suddenly failed. The ship lost control and crashed on the rocky surface of Karvok, right next to the Deathworld Council's meeting ground. The council had gathered to discuss the next war and plan their future. The meeting place was a giant open arena surrounded by sharp black mountains. The crash made a loud noise. Council members looked up, surprised and angry. No one expected outsiders, especially humans, to appear here. The council's guards quickly surrounded the ship, weapons ready. Sarah and her crew stepped out, hands raised. They wanted peace. They did not mean to disturb the council. The council's leader, a tall and fierce alien named Jarkek, approached. His skin was dark red and covered with scars. His eyes burned with suspicion. "What do you want, humans?" he asked in a deep, harsh voice. "You have entered the sacred ground of the Deathworld Council without permission. This is an offense punishable by death." Sarah stood tall. "We didn't mean to intrude. Our ship was damaged, and we had no choice but to land here. We come in peace." The council members laughed. A smaller alien called Vextal sneered. "Peace? You are fools to think you can walk among us without earning your place. Your kind is weak. You don't belong here." Sarah did not back down. "We may be different, but we are strong in our own way. We survive and adapt. You will see." The council was not impressed. They wanted to show these humans the true meaning of strength. But instead of killing them right away, Jarkek made a bold decision. "We will give you a chance," he said. "If you can survive the trials of the death worlds, then you will earn your place among us. If you fail, you will die." Sarah nodded. "We accept your challenge." The council members murmured among themselves. This was unheard of. No weak species had ever dared to challenge the death worlds. The humans were taken to a harsh place known as the Bloodlands, a death world famous for its deadly creatures and violent storms. The first trial was simple in name, but deadly in practice. Survive. The Bloodlands were not like Earth. The sky was dark, filled with swirling red clouds. Giant, sharp plants covered the land and massive beasts roamed everywhere, hunting anything that moved. The temperature was extreme, freezing at night, boiling hot during the day. Sarah's crew felt fear but also excitement. They knew they had to rely on each other. Their training, their teamwork, and their will to live would be tested. Before they entered the Bloodlands, Sarah gathered her people. "We don't have the strength of a Karvok warrior, but we have something else: our minds, our hearts, and our will. We will survive because we never give up." The humans stepped into the dangerous world. They moved carefully, using every skill they had learned. They studied the land, watched the skies, and listened to the strange sounds around them. They made simple tools and traps using the materials they found. The council watchers observed from afar. They expected humans to fail quickly, but the humans surprised them. They set up camps, hunted carefully, and avoided deadly creatures. One night, a giant predator known as a Krator attacked the camp. It was bigger than a house with sharp teeth and glowing eyes. The humans fought bravely. Using traps and teamwork, they managed to drive the beast away. The council members watching were shocked. No weak species had ever fought like this before. Days passed and the humans kept surviving. They used clever tactics such as creating distractions and setting traps to protect themselves. They learned the patterns of storms and moved to safer places. Sarah's leadership was strong. She encouraged her crew every day. We may not be the strongest, but we are the smartest. We will prove that survival is not only about strength, it's about heart and mind. The human's success made some council members curious and even a little worried. Could these strange beings really belong among Deathworld warriors? At the end of the first trial, the humans stood tired, but alive. They had faced the Bloodlands and survived where many others had failed. Jarkek met Sarah again, this time with a new respect. You have passed the first trial, humans, but the journey is far from over. Sarah nodded, knowing the road ahead was harder. But now, the council knew humanity was not just weaklings. They were survivors, fighters, with a new kind of strength. And the Deathworld Council was about to learn that humans were not to be underestimated. After the humans survived the Bloodlands, the Deathworld Council's mood changed. Their fierce leader, Jarkek, was not used to seeing anyone last so long in the first trial. His sharp eyes watched Sarah Jensen and her crew carefully. You have surprised us, he said. But the true test is yet to come. Surviving the land is only the beginning. Now you must face the trials of the arena. The arena was a large, open space surrounded by high walls made of black stone. It was the place where the council tested warriors in battle, strength, and skill. Here they fought creatures and each other to prove who was the strongest. The humans were led to the center of the arena. Around them, council members and warriors from different death worlds gathered to watch. Many whispered, expecting the humans to fail quickly. They did not believe Earthlings could fight like Deathworld warriors. Sarah looked at her crew and spoke quietly. This is not just a battle of strength. We will use our minds and teamwork. Remember, every life is important. Protect each other. The first challenge was simple in words but deadly in reality. The humans had to fight a wild beast called the Ralzor. It was fast, fierce, and had sharp claws that could tear through armor. The beast was a favorite test for new challengers because it was quick and intelligent. As the beast was released, it roared loudly. The crowd cheered. The humans scattered carefully. They did not rush forward blindly like many warriors would. Instead, they watched the Ralzor's movements, searching for patterns. The beast charged at one of the crew, a young soldier named Marcus. Using quick thinking, Marcus dodged the attack and threw a net made from strong fibers. The beast struggled but broke free quickly. The fight was dangerous. The humans worked together. Some distracted the beast while others prepared weapons. Using spears and traps, they slowly wore the Ralzor down. When the beast finally collapsed, the crowd was stunned. They had expected a quick human defeat, but instead saw a group that worked like a single unit. It was a new style of fighting. One based on cooperation, not just individual strength. The council members grumbled. Humans fight differently, but it is effective, muttered Vextal, the small alien who had mocked them before. Sarah stepped forward, breathing hard but smiling. We don't fight alone. We fight as one. The next challenge was even harder. The council placed the humans in a complex maze filled with traps, puzzles, and hidden dangers. The maze was called the Trial of Shadows. Many warriors had entered, but few had found their way out. Inside the maze, the humans had to find a glowing crystal and bring it back to the arena. The crystal was said to have strange power, and no one could keep it for long. It would fade if the holder was careless or weak. Sarah took the lead. Trust each other. Watch every step. This is not a race. It is a test of patience and mind. The maze was dark and full of noise. Strange sounds echoed through the halls. Some paths seemed safe but hid deadly traps. Others led to dead ends. The humans used their skills from Earth, reading signs, listening carefully, and working as a team. When a trap was found, they stopped and planned how to avoid it. At one point, the maze's walls began to close in slowly. The humans moved quickly but carefully, sensing the pressure around them. Marcus spotted the glowing crystal on a pedestal inside a hidden chamber. He reached for it, but as soon as he held it, the wall started to shake. The crystal's light faded slightly. "We have to keep moving," Sarah said firmly. "The crystal reacts to fear and weakness. We must be strong." The crew pushed forward, helping each other when tired or hurt. Their trust in one another grew stronger. When they finally reached the exit, the crystal shone brightly again. Back in the arena, the crowd watched as the humans returned, tired, but victorious. Jarkek nodded slowly. "Your minds are sharper than we believed. You passed the trial of shadows." The council's respect for humanity was growing, but their challenges were far from over. The third trial was political. The council was not just about fighting. It was about power, alliances, and betrayal. They wanted to test if humans could survive the dangerous politics of Deathworlds. The humans were brought into the council's chamber, where members argued, fiercely over territory and resources. Sarah had to speak for her people. The council expected her to fail, to show weakness or fear, but Sarah was calm and confident. "We come not to steal or destroy," she said. "We come to learn and to offer strength through unity." Some council members laughed. Others looked surprised. Over the next days, Sarah and her crew negotiated with different council members. They made allies by listening and understanding the other's needs. They did not use threats or violence. Instead, they used respect and honesty. This confused many council members. They were used to threats and power games. Humans brought something new, trust and cooperation. Vextal approached Sarah one day. "Why do you trust us? We have killed each other for power." Sarah smiled. "Because trust is stronger than fear. Without it, even the strongest fall." Slowly, the council began to see the value in humanity's way. The humans were different, but that difference was not weakness. It was a new kind of strength. Jarkek stood before the council at the end of the political trial. "Humans have shown survival, courage, and wisdom, but the final trial is the hardest. One of endurance and spirit." Sarah and her crew prepared for the last test. They knew it would push them to their limits. Before leaving, Sarah looked at her team. "We have come far. We will finish strong. No matter what happens, we have already changed the council forever." The council watched silently as the humans walked toward their next challenge. They were no longer just weak earthlings. They were challengers, fighters, and thinkers who refused to give up, and the galaxy was about to see a new kind of power rising from Earth's humans. The final trial was called the Trial of Endurance. It was a test unlike any other. The Deathworld Council wanted to see if the humans could survive without their usual comforts, weapons, or technology. They would face the wild on a new Deathworld, called Clithar, one that changed every day. The landscape shifted, storms came without warning, and dangerous creatures roamed freely. Jarkek gave the order. "You will be left alone on Clithar for 30 days. No help, no tools. Just you. And the world." The humans listened carefully. They knew this would be the hardest test yet, but they were ready. Sarah looked at her crew. "We will live by the old human way, adapt, learn, and keep moving. Our strength is not in weapons, but in our minds and hearts." The dropships landed gently on Clithar's rough surface. The sky was heavy with dark clouds. The air smelled sharp like metal and rain. The first challenge was the changing landscape. Mountains moved, rivers appeared and disappeared, and forests grew overnight. The humans could not rely on maps or memory. Every day was a new puzzle. Sarah divided the group into small teams. Each team was responsible for a part of the camp, food, and scouting. They used simple signals to communicate and stayed close to each other. On the first night, a violent storm hit. Lightning lit the sky and thunder shook the ground. Trees bent under the wind, and rain flooded the lowlands. The humans found shelter in caves and dug small trenches to protect themselves. They held hands and shared warmth. Many felt fear, but Sarah's calm voice kept them steady. "This storm will pass. We must be patient and watch the world carefully," she said. In the following days, the humans searched for food and water. Claythor was full of strange plants and animals. Some were deadly, others could be eaten. Marcus, the young soldier, discovered a plant with glowing berries. He tasted one carefully, then gave it to Sarah. It was safe and full of energy. The humans used their knowledge of biology to identify edible plants and avoid poisonous ones. They made simple traps to catch small animals, but they were careful not to waste energy. The shifting terrain made hunting difficult. One day, the camp was surrounded by a pack of sharp-toothed creatures called Graknar. They were fast and smart hunters. The humans did not fight. Instead, they used fire and noise to scare the Graknar away. They worked as one, protecting the weak and keeping the group calm. As the days passed, the humans learned to read the signs of Claythor. They noticed how the wind moved the trees, where the animals hid, and when the storms would come. Their ability to adapt was impressive. Other species would have panicked or given up. One morning, a strange event shook the camp. The ground trembled, and from a nearby valley rose a giant beast, taller than a building. It was the Claythor Titan, a legendary creature said to destroy everything in its path. The humans froze, unsure what to do. The Titan moved slowly but with great power, crushing trees and rocks. Sarah quickly made a plan. We won't fight the Titan. We must outsmart it. The crew spread out, making noise and drawing the Titan's attention away from the camp. Using traps and distractions, they led the beast toward a narrow canyon. The Titan followed, but the canyon's walls were too tight for its massive body. It got stuck and roared in frustration. The humans used this chance to return to camp safely. The council watchers were amazed. Humans survived a monster no one else dared face. During the last days, hunger and fatigue tested the humans. Some became weak, others fell ill. But they supported each other, sharing food and encouraging words. Sarah often reminded them, "We are more than our bodies. Our spirit keeps us alive." On the 30th day, the humans stood tired but proud. They had survived Claythor's ever-changing dangers without tools or weapons. Jarkek appeared at the camp, surrounded by council members. He looked at Sarah and smiled for the first time. "You have done what no other species has done," he said. "You have shown true strength, not only in your bodies but in your minds and hearts." The humans returned to the council arena, where members greeted them with a mix of respect and curiosity. The trials were over, but the real test had just begun. The Deathworld Council faced a new challenge: the rise of humans who fought differently, survived differently, and might change the balance of power forever. Sarah looked at her people. "We did not come here to be weak. We came to show that humanity belongs among the strongest." The council members whispered among themselves. Some feared the change. Others saw new possibilities. One thing was clear: the galaxy would never be the same again. The humans had survived the brutal physical trials, but the Deathworld Council had one last kind of test in store for them. A test of minds and hearts. It was a test of politics, of trust and betrayal. The council was a place of power, where alliances were made and broken, where words were sometimes deadlier than swords. Sarah and her crew were brought into the Grand Council chamber. It was a large circular room with high ceilings and glowing symbols floating in the air. Around the circle sat the leaders of the Deathworlds, watching silently. Each face was hard and unreadable. Jarkek spoke first. "Survival is not only about strength or skill. It is also about knowing who to trust and how to lead. This council thrives on power and cunning. Can you survive here?" Sarah nodded. "We will try." The council set a challenge. The humans had to negotiate a new treaty between two rival Deathworlds, the volcanic planet Drakthar and the frozen wasteland Silkra. Both had been at war for decades, and the council wanted peace. The humans were given only limited information and had to meet with leaders from both sides. The goal was to bring them together and find a way to end the fighting. The first meeting was tense. The leader of Drakthar, a giant with skin like molten rock, stared coldly at Sarah. The Silkra leader, thin and pale with icy blue eyes, did not trust humans at all. Sarah began carefully. We understand your pain and losses. War has cost you both much. But peace could bring new strength and prosperity. The leaders scoffed. You do not know our history, said Drakthar's leader. Humans are weak. You cannot understand Deathworld struggles. Sarah stayed calm. Perhaps. But we have faced many challenges on Earth. We know what it means to rebuild after war. Days passed with talks that often ended in shouting or silence. The humans listened more than they spoke. They found small things that both sides agreed on: protection of young warriors, shared resources, respect for traditions. Using these small agreements, Sarah helped the leaders see a way forward. If you work together, you will be stronger against threats outside your worlds, she said. The council watched quietly. Some members were surprised at how humans handled the delicate balance of power, but the test was not over. Behind the scenes, some council members tried to break the humans' unity. They spread false information, offered secret deals, and whispered lies. Marcus noticed first. They want us to fight each other, he said. We have to stay united. Sarah agreed. Trust is our strongest weapon. We will not let their games divide us. The humans held meetings to share information honestly. They spoke openly about the challenges and dangers. Slowly, their honesty built trust not only among themselves but also with some council members. One evening, Vextal, the small alien who once mocked humanity, approached Sarah quietly. You are different, he said. You do not play our games, yet you win. Sarah smiled softly. We believe there is more power in honesty than in lies. By the end of the political trial, the treaty between Drakthar and Silkra was signed. It was not perfect, but it was a start. Jarkek addressed the council. Humans have shown that strength is not only muscle and weapons, it is also trust, unity, and wisdom. The council members whispered among themselves. The old ways were challenged. Sarah looked at her crew and then at the council. We do not seek to destroy your traditions. We want to build with you. The council's chamber was silent for a long moment. Then Jarkek nodded. You have passed the political test. But remember, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is watching. As the humans left the chamber, they felt a new kind of respect from the council. They were no longer outsiders, but potential members of a powerful alliance. Yet Sarah knew the greatest challenges were still ahead. Surviving Deathworlds was one thing. Changing the minds of centuries-old warriors was another. But humanity had proven one thing clearly. They were not weak. They were not fools. They were here to stay. The Deathworld Council was not used to change. For centuries, the rules were clear. Only the strongest, the fiercest, the most brutal survived and ruled. Now, the arrival of humanity had begun to shake those old rules. The council members watched. Closely, some with suspicion, others with curiosity. Sarah Jensen and her crew had passed the toughest trials. They survived the deadly lands, fought fierce beasts, and showed strength of mind and spirit in politics. But joining the council was more than winning challenges. It was about fitting into a world ruled by ancient power and tradition. The council's great hall buzzed with activity. Leaders from different Deathworlds gathered to decide the future. The humans sat quietly, waiting for their chance to speak. Jarkek rose, his voice deep and commanding. Humans have shown courage and wisdom, but some question if you truly belong here. What say you, humans? Why should you be part of the Deathworld Council? Sarah stood, her eyes steady. We are not here to take power by force. We are here because we survived where many failed. Because we bring new ideas and strength. Because we believe strength comes from more than just muscle and fear. The council was silent for a moment. Then, a warrior from the desert planet Varric, with skin like cracked stone, stepped forward. Humans have proven their worth. Their way is strange, but their strength is real. I support their place here. Others nodded slowly. Some council members whispered in agreement, but change was never easy. Some voices grew louder in opposition. Humans are outsiders. hissed a cold-eyed member from the jungle planet Mirthal. They do not understand our ways. Their weakness will bring ruin. Sarah met the challenge calmly. We will learn your ways as you will learn ours. Together we can be stronger. The council debated for hours, old grudges and new ideas clashing like thunder. But a new feeling was growing. The possibility that the council could become more than just a place of survival. It could be a place of strength through unity. Outside the hall, the humans met with new allies. Some council members had approached them, curious to learn more about Earth and humanity's history. Marcus smiled. They want to understand us. That means we are making a difference, Sarah nodded. This is the start of something bigger. We are not just survivors, we are builders. The humans shared stories of Earth's history, of wars and peace, failures and triumphs. They showed how humans had survived challenges not by fighting alone, but by working together. Slowly, the council's old warriors began to see a new path. One where strength was not just power, but also wisdom, cooperation, and hope. But change always invites danger. Some factions did not want the council to change. They feared losing control. They planned to test humanity again, to break their spirit. One night, the humans' camp was attacked by unknown assassins. The fight was fierce but brief. The humans used their teamwork and quick thinking to defend themselves. Sarah stood tall afterward. They fear what we represent, but we will not be broken. The council's leaders took notice. Some saw the attack as proof that humanity was a threat. Others saw it as proof of humanity's strength and resilience. Jarkek called a special meeting. Humans have proven themselves in battle, in politics, and in spirit. Now we must decide their place among us. The council voted. The results were close, but in the end, humanity was granted a permanent seat on the Deathworld Council. It was a historic moment, the first time a species from a gentle world had joined the ranks of Deathworld warriors. Sarah accepted the honor with humility. We thank you for your trust. We will work hard to honor it. The council members looked at humanity differently now. They were no longer outsiders. They were partners. As the humans prepared for their new roles, they knew the galaxy was changing. The Deathworld Council was not just a place of death and survival anymore. It was becoming a place of hope and strength, and humanity was leading the way. The day had finally come. Humanity, once seen as reckless outsiders, was now a recognized part of the Deathworld Council. The news spread quickly across the galaxies. Humans had not only survived the trials, but earned a seat among the fiercest warriors and leaders of the deadliest planets. Sarah Jensen stood at the entrance of the Council's Great Hall, looking out over the vast spaceport where ships from dozens of worlds gathered. The weight of what had happened settled on her shoulders, but she felt ready. She was no longer just a captain of an exploration ship. She was a representative of humanity among the galaxy's most powerful. Her crew gathered around her, tired, but proud. Marcus, ever the optimist, gave her a small smile. We did it, Sarah. They actually accepted us. Sarah nodded. This is only the beginning. Our journey is far from over. The council's chambers were filled with leaders and warriors from many worlds. The human's place had been marked clearly, a high seat near Jarkek himself. It was a sign of respect and trust. Jarkek stood to address the assembly. Today, we welcome humanity not just as survivors, but as partners. Their strength has proven true in lands, battles, and mines. They bring new ways and new hope. Applause echoed around the room, though some voices remained quiet, still unsure. Sarah stepped forward. We are honored to join you. We do not come to replace old ways, but to build new paths together. Our strength comes from unity, learning, and never giving up. The council's members looked at her with respect. A new chapter was beginning. Soon after the ceremony, the council assigned humanity their first mission as full members, a joint expedition to explore a newly discovered death world on the edge of known space. This planet, called Vraxon, was wild and mysterious, with unknown dangers and valuable resources. Sarah and her crew prepared quickly. They knew that representing humanity meant leading by example. The trip to Vraxen was tense but hopeful. Humans worked alongside warriors from other death worlds, sharing knowledge and tactics. The planet was harsh. Thick jungles hid deadly creatures. Sudden storms tested their endurance. But the team moved carefully and with respect for the land. Early in the mission, a massive predator attacked the group. It was faster and stronger than anything Sarah's team had faced before. But this time, they were not alone. Warriors from Varric, Mirthal, and Drakthar fought beside them. The humans coordinated with their allies, combining strategies learned from years of trials. Together, they defeated the beast. The victory was more than just survival. It was proof that the new council could work as one. As the mission continued, Sarah saw how humanity's ideas and spirit inspired others. They introduced new ways to build shelters, grow food, and communicate. Council members began asking questions, wanting to learn from humans. Back on the council station, Sarah met with Jarkek in his private chamber. "You have changed the council," he said quietly. "Your people bring hope we have not seen in centuries." Sarah smiled. "We learn from you as well. Together we are stronger." The story of humanity's rise in the Deathworld Council spread across the galaxy. Some species welcomed the change. Others resisted. But Sarah and her crew stayed focused on their mission: to survive, to learn, and to build a future where strength came from unity, not just power. In the years that followed, humanity's place in the Council grew stronger. They became leaders in peace talks, explorers of new worlds, and warriors when needed. And the galaxy watched, amazed by the species that had once been seen as weak, but had risen to become giants among deathworlds.